What if I told you that Aston Martin is on the verge of the biggest leadership shakeup in Formula One? One that could reunite two of the most powerful figures the sport has ever seen. What if I told you that Andy Cowell is stepping back, Adrian Newey is taking control, and Christian Horner might be plotting a return that could flip the entire paddock on its head? This isn't a rumour roundup. This isn't speculation. This is a massive power shift unfolding behind closed doors right now. And, if it goes the way insiders say it might, it could define who dominates F1 in 2026 and beyond. Let's get into it. So let's start with Andy Cowell. If you've been following F1 for a while, you know who he is. One of the key brains behind the Mercedes hybrid era dominance. A guy with a deep engineering background, especially in power unit development. When Aston Martin pulled him in to lead the entire operation, CEO and team boss, it was seen as a statement. They weren't playing around. They wanted to move from midfield hopefuls to championship contenders. But now, things are shifting. The reports coming out say Cowell is preparing to step away from his leadership role, potentially before the Qatar Grand Prix. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean he's leaving the team entirely. The word is that he might transition into a different, more specialised role, something closer to the power unit side, which is really where he's at his best. And this is where the story gets interesting, because right when Cowell is moving aside, Adrian Newey is stepping in. Newey, arguably the greatest car designer in the history of the sport, has taken on a major technical role at Aston Martin. Not just a consultant, not just an advisor, a real, hands-on leadership position. And here's the thing. When you bring in someone like Newey, the entire team has to realign around his vision. You don't hire the greatest aerodynamicist in the world and then ask him to fit in with what already exists. You build around him. And that seems to be exactly what's happening. Behind the scenes, there are whispers of conflicting philosophies between Newey and Cowell. Cowell comes from the engine and systems side. Newey is from the aerodynamic and chassis side. They think differently. They design differently. They prioritise differently. And when two powerful thinkers with two powerful visions try to run the same ship, it gets complicated. Add to that the fact that Newey isn't just an employee, he's a shareholder. That gives him serious influence inside the team's structure, influence that affects decisions far beyond just the car. So, instead of forcing these two giants of engineering to constantly compromise, Aston Martin seems to be restructuring. Let Cowell step into a more focused, less political position, and allow Newey to shape the technical and strategic direction of the entire team. But that leaves another question. Who becomes team boss? Well, this is where the drama ramps up, because one name is getting louder and louder. Christian Horner. After stepping away from Red Bull, Horner has been exploring opportunities, and Aston Martin has absolutely been one of the teams he's spoken with. He's reportedly been calling team owners, assessing where he could make a comeback. And the idea of Horner joining forces with Newey again, that's the kind of partnership that reshaped F1 once, and could absolutely reshape it again. And here's why Aston would consider him. Horner isn't just a team boss. He's a political operator, a commercial force, a negotiator, a leader who knows how to build a winning culture and sustain it. Red Bull's success wasn't just technical excellence. It was organisational excellence. It was unity. It was long-term vision. And Horner was at the centre of all of it. For Aston Martin, a team that's grown extremely fast but sometimes lacks cohesion, someone like Horner could be the final piece. Publicly, Cowell has denied that Horner is joining the team. He said there are no plans for him to take an operational role or to become an investor. And when the media has pushed Aston Martin as a whole, the team has stayed very tight-lipped, repeating variations of the same line. We don't comment on speculation. Either way, this is the most important moment in Aston Martin's F1 history. A team boss leaving, Adrian Newey arriving, Christian Horner hovering in the background. and a new era of regulations just around the corner. This isn't just news, it's the setup for a story that could define the next decade of F1. And now I want to hear from you, because this is going to split opinions. Should Aston Martin bring Christian Horner in? Is he the right man for the job? Or would that create too much friction at the top? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, hit like, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next deep dive into the world of Formula One.